What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Monday, April 27th, 2026, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now it is 14:06 Eastern Time here in the United States, and I wanted to update you guys on the situation with Iran and everything else going on around the world. So it was actually pretty quiet this past weekend. There wasn't a lot of crazy breaking news aside from the shooting that took place at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And I'm not going to really focus too much on that. There's tons of people out there focusing on the shooting and all the different conspiracies, and all that stuff is just speculation. You could spend a lifetime speculating about this kind of stuff. So I'm going to focus mainly on the things that are actually going to affect our lives, which is the Iran war, the Ukraine war, terrorism, things like that. Okay, I will try to cover the shooting a little bit, but I'm not going to get into the weeds of all the different conspiracies, okay? But Trump is expected to hold a Situation Room meeting today on Iran with his top national security and foreign policy team. The meeting is expected to discuss the current stalemate in negotiations with Iran and potential options for the next steps. Okay, so big Situation Room meeting today with his top national security and foreign policy team. We're also hearing that the Iranian foreign minister arrived in Russia for talks with Putin. He was actually in Oman and Pakistan yesterday, so he did actually meet with Pakistani mediators. Then he went to Oman, and now he's in Russia. Very, very interesting. And Iran's foreign minister presented Pakistan yesterday with a new list of conditions to end the war. Isn't that funny? As if Iran is in a position to dictate when the war's going to end. That's pretty funny. These include applying a new legal regime to the Strait of Hormuz, receiving compensation, guaranteeing no further military aggression, and lifting the naval blockade. Iran also said that the nuclear issue is unrelated to negotiations, implying it will no longer negotiate on that matter. Okay, so he told Pakistan, we're not going to discuss the nuclear issue at all. We want the blockade lifted. We're going to have control of the Strait of Hormuz, which, by the way, is an international waterway, so they have no right to dictate who gets to use the Strait of Hormuz. They have no right to charge tolls, okay? So the Iranians are absolutely crazy, and I think this is going to lead to Trump having to completely annihilate Iran. I think he's going to do the bridges and infrastructure attack and more stuff other than that. He's going to have to launch a large-scale strike very soon. Otherwise, oil is going to stay high through the summer travel season, and it's going to have a big impact on our economy here in the United States. And what you're looking at here is a screenshot of all the U.S. military cargo planes that were going down to the Middle East from Ramstein Saturday night while everybody was focused on the shooting at the Correspondents' Dinner. There were like 20 C-17s in the air at one time. Look at this, guys. It's like a highway between Ramstein and Israel and Jordan and Qatar. We haven't seen this many C-17s going to the Middle East since the buildup to the beginning of the war. Okay, so basically they're preparing for round two. Here's another screenshot from last night. So over the weekend, a massive movement of U.S. military equipment to the Middle East. And I just wanted to propose an idea to you guys. So what if Trump has been stalling with the Iranians to rebuild our forces and restock our munitions in the region for round two? In other words, we expended a massive amount of munitions, and so you can't just continue to fight a war without munitions. So maybe all this peace stuff that he's been doing with Iran is to buy us a little bit more time to restock all the forces in the region and then launch round two. That's what I think is going on, to be honest. And here we have a picture of Putin meeting with the Iranian foreign minister, and you can see Lavrov here sitting right next to Putin. And look at how pissed off Putin looks, and also Lavrov. They both look pissed off. So the Iranian foreign minister, it looks like he may be on the chopping block for the KGB. He may have to check his tea to make sure there's no polonium in it now. It doesn't look like the Russians are happy with him for whatever reason. Looks pretty pissed off. Look at his face. Look at Putin's face here. So I don't know what's going on, but his meeting with the Russian mafia doesn't appear to be going well. And Japan received the first American oil shipment after the Iran war. The ship Otis delivered about 900,000 barrels of light oil from Texas to a refinery near Tokyo. The journey took 35 days through the Panama Canal. Japan normally gets 90% of its oil from the Persian Gulf, but it no longer arrives, and the U.S. is now taking its place. So for all you conspiracy people out there, there you have it, something interesting to think about. And here's actual video footage of this tanker coming from Texas to Tokyo. And the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz says that Iran is humiliating the United States. And before I continue with the breaking news, I wanted to mention the sponsor for this update, which is Matt Hat Jerky. Guys, if you're a beef jerky lover like myself, you got to try Matt Hat Jerky. This is the best beef jerky I've ever had. I personally met the owner of this company at SHOT Show, and he's actually local to Pennsylvania. This company has an interesting story behind it. He founded this company when he was 11 years old. Yeah, that's right, 11 years old. He's now 19, and he makes gourmet beef jerky, the best jerky I've ever had. He's got over a dozen different flavors, and it's all sourced with U.S. beef, so no foreign beef, no nitrates, and no MSG. So it's all natural American beef jerky. And if you use my promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And you got to go to matthatjerky.com. And I'm going to leave a link in the description down below. That's matthatjerky.com. One word, matthatjerky.com. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off your entire order. And the link and the promo code are in the description down below. And NATO decision makers are mulling the idea of canceling annual summits starting in 2027 in an apparent effort to avoid public tension with U.S. President Trump. NATO's next annual summit is set to be held this July in Ankara, Turkey. But per the reports, some officials within NATO are pushing to limit the amount of summits. So maybe they're going to do it every 2 years. I doubt that they're going to get rid of the annual summit, but I'm sure a lot of the other ones they're going to probably get rid of to avoid any kind of clashes with the Trump administration. And Hezbollah and Israel continue fighting in southern Lebanon. Over the weekend, one Israeli soldier was killed by a Lebanese or Hezbollah FPV drone. And Israel has been striking assorted targets and demolishing buildings suspected of housing Hezbollah fighters. Very interesting. And according to Al Jazeera, Hezbollah plans to increasingly leverage the use of suicide bombers in operations against Israeli Defense Force positions in southern Lebanon as reciprocal exchanges of fires and ground operations continue despite last week's announcement of a 3-week extension to the ceasefire. So they're supposed to have a ceasefire, guys. What happened to that? Okay, they're still fighting each other, okay? And the U.S. warned Iraq it could be designated as a state sponsor of terrorism. And according to a release from U.S. Central Command, the U.S. blockade of Iran has now led to a total of 38 vessels being redirected or forced to turn back. So very interesting. And the manifesto of Cole Thomas Allen has been released, where he refers to Trump as a pedophile, rapist, and traitor. He also intended to target every single administration official except for Kash Patel. Very interesting. So Trump was on 60 Minutes last night, and Nora O'Donnell, I think her name is, asked Trump about this, and Trump really got triggered. Take a listen. Wow.
Excuse me. You shouldn't be reading that on 60 Minutes. You're a disgrace. But
And we have some interesting information coming out of Hungary. So the new Prime Minister of Hungary said that the Orban government is now transferring billions of dollars to various safe haven countries like the UAE, Uruguay, and the US. And he called the Orban government a mafia. Let me read to you what he said. He said, Orban-linked oligarchs are transferring tens of billions of forints to the UAE, the US, Uruguay, and other distant countries. I call on responsible domestic and international investors to refrain from acquiring assets linked to the mafia. Otherwise, they may find themselves facing the National Office for Asset Recovery and Protection. So he's threatening to go after anyone that accepts Orban oligarchs' money. I have also been informed that several oligarch families have already left the country, and that the Mazaros family is expected to travel to Dubai in the coming days. According to reports, several influential oligarch families have already withdrawn their children from school and are arranging trusted security personnel for their departure. Very interesting. So the Orban government has been dismantled, and they're now fleeing Hungary out of fear of prosecution potentially, and they're transferring their money. Absolutely insane. And what you're looking at here is video footage coming out of France. These are Italian tanks rolling through the streets of France in massive numbers. Look at this, guys. This is just absolutely insane, okay? And this is clearly a sign that Europe is preparing for war with Russia, okay? A massive world war as well. All right, so massive joint exercises underway in France. And today is the 40th anniversary of the Chernobyl disaster. As of today, it is still the most expensive disaster in history, with an estimated cost of $700 billion. Wow. Okay, so the most expensive disaster, Chernobyl. Nobody really thinks about that, okay? And look at this, guys. The tanks just keep rolling and rolling through the streets. Absolutely insane. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be back later on tonight with another update. And I wanted to let you guys know that I did get my original Twitter account restored at NYPrepper1. So I'm going to mostly be posting over there, but still subscribe to my backup Twitter account, which is NYPrepper1. The links are down below in the description, but I'm mostly going to be posting to my primary account from now on. But until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 P's: prepare, practice, and persevere. And this update was sponsored by EMP Shield. Guys, EMP Shield has created a special discount just for you, the listeners of the NYPrepper channel. If you go to empshield.com and use the promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And why do you need an EMP Shield? Well, this is a special device to protect your vehicle, your RV, your solar generators, your radios from an electromagnetic pulse, which could be caused by a solar flare or potentially a rogue country like North Korea detonating an electromagnetic pulse weapon over the United States that's mounted onto a satellite. So protect your vehicles, protect your RV, protect your radios, protect your generators with an EMP shield. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off. Installation is super simple. This is a veteran-owned business, 100% American-made, and the EMP shields have been tested by the military, okay? And free shipping is included to the entire continental United States. And the link and the promo code are in the description below this video.